When I entered the oil and gas industry back in the 70s, the experts proclaimed that we were at peak oil and that we were running out of natural gas. The government even mandated that we not construct any power generation in the United States using natural gas, and that it was all going to be coal generation of electricity. Now, the industry has risen to the challenge, and today we find that we have an abundance of natural gas resources here in the United States, that we also have TCFs of stranded natural gas internationally, and that the real issue, I think, in front of us is more one of oil rather than of natural gas. Well, the world currently consumes about 100 million barrels of oil per day, and that I believe that it's all hands on deck for providing secure and reliable sources of oil, both conventionally and unconventionally. Now, tight oil provides about 10% or less than 10% of that demand, and I don't believe that with the current prices and the technology that resource plays are going to be able to provide all the needs of oil in the future. Please understand that I'm an advocate for resource plays, and I believe that they're attractive for primarily four main reasons. Number one, the geological risk of the dry hole has been mitigated with the resource plays. Number two, the prediction or the ability to predict the type of fluids that you're going to encounter, oil versus gas, is more fundamentally stable in the resource plays than it would be in the conventional world. Third is that the private and the public financial communities love resource plays because they're capital intensive and they're always going to be focused on the lowest cost producer. And then fourth, I think the industry has demonstrated that the safety and the technology is proven, with existing technology is proven, to deliver these resources to the community, and they've been doing so and improving since World War II. Now, this latter point I found was a real surprise to the international community and to our European friends. And that is, when I would go over and talk to them about resource plays, they thought that fracking was a phenomena that was just related to the recent shale revolution with horizontal drilling. And when we pointed out there were more than 1 million wells fracked in the United States across all basins since World War II, they were astounded. And I think that leads into why it's important that we need to have legacy data and we need to maintain it and review it constantly as an industry. There's over 700 sedimentary basins around the world, and most of them have been explored to some extent. Not all of them are frontier. And if you're an investor or an evaluator of those basins or the acreage within those basins, you want to understand if your acreage has already been drilled, proven, or condemned. Now, just having that legacy data existing is a leg up on competition, and that in itself proves to have value. Let me explain an example of how to use legacy data that I had personally when I worked for an outfit in Calgary called Canadian Hunter Exploration. The two founders of the company, John Masters and Jim Gray, had a conference room where they had portraits of what they called their mentors of Canadian Hunter on the wall. And one of those portraits was of a gentleman by the name of Wallace Pratt. Now, Wallace Pratt was the first company geologist of Humble Oil, now known as ExxonMobil, over 100 years ago. And he's a legend within the oil and gas community, known for many accomplishments. But one of the most interesting sayings has been attributed to him is that oil is first found in the minds of men. Geologists just don't conjure up or imagine these ideas or discoveries. They examine the historical data first for clues and potential indicators of where a hydrocarbon deposit may exist. We draw conclusions or iterate with further inspection from something that is initially just a hint to evolve to being the full-scale support of an idea of where the deposit may lie. People make discoveries with the data. And that brings me to another one of my favorite sayings by Jonathan Swift, and that is, vision is the art of seeing the invisible. And how that relates to our process is that once you can recognize, or once you see the data through a different prism or lens, it suddenly appears to you, and that's when you get paradigm shifts or game-changing events that happen and take off.